Good afternoon, everyone. My heart's pretty heavy today because of all the things that are going on, and while it shouldn't have taken something so drastic to make my heart heavy, I wanted to take the opportunity to just share with you some of the things that are going through my own brain, as well as a couple of opportunities for prayer. So first, just commercials, just so you can get it on your calendars. On Mondays, most weeks on Mondays at 5 o'clock, we meet for a short time of prayer and on Zoom. If you'd like to do that, you can go to our website and find the links there for that particular Zoom gathering. Then tonight at 6 o'clock, there'll be a vigil for justice in light of all that's been going on. It will be in front of Drew United Methodist in Carmel at 6. You can bring signs, a candle. There'll be prayers by myself and others, as well as Senator Harkman will be there, and either the sheriff or one of the deputy sheriffs will be there as well. So if you can join us for that, please do so. There is a event page on here on Facebook that you can find. But I've been thinking a lot, and still trying to get some of my thoughts together, both in terms of what I'll be praying later, but even more so of how to address all of this, because there's such a myriad of different things going on, and it's, first of all, it's really hard to kind of make sense of all the things that the media is showing. Is it, and our questions are always, is it really showing, is it only showing the worst of it? Is it showing only the best of it? And what's really happening, unless we're on the ground in that particular moment, we probably don't have the full story. And even those who are on the ground can only see where they're at. So we need to be really careful about making assumptions about the looting that's going on, as well as the protests. I mean, all protests are not violent, but some of the violence or some of the looting things are coming out of a deep sense of anger and frustration and hurt, and things I can't even begin to explain, because that's not my experience. That's not my experience. I'm a woman, and so I look at the world in a particular way. As for women can probably share with you that when we go out in public, if it's dark outside and we're by ourselves, there's precautions we take. We're very mindful of everything around us. I have my keys in my hand and things like that. But I still have privilege because I'm white. There are not the same kind of assumptions made about me because I'm white. I mean, I think about, folks will often say, well, I have a black friend or a family member. And yes, I do. I do too. And I'm thankful for them in my life, as I am all my friends. But have I ever stopped to think about what their own experience is like, just going about their daily business? Of how just walking in the park, you can have, and asking somebody to put their dog on their leash can end up in a phone call to the police, and thankfully it did not go farther. Or how being accused of forging a check falsely, it turns out, could end your life just because he was black. Just because of that particular police officers and those who were with him, of having no regard for that life, of seeing him only as a black man and a threat for whatever reason, for no other reason than their own assumptions about him. How often do we make assumptions about those we see? I know I do. I know I do. And often my assumptions are very wrong, both in terms of color as well as lots of other things that go into it. So how do we deal with it? First of all, we talk to our friends and family of color and ask them about their own experiences, to hear their stories, to not just assume we think, oh, well, they're okay. They don't have to experience, they don't experience that. They do. They do. There was a video out a number of months ago about female clergy. So much different situation, but about female clergy and some things that are often said to us as females that are not said to male clergy. Sometimes they have to do with our looks, positive and negative, as well as lots of other things, sometimes very suggestive things. And so these were all written up and given to male clergy to read. And they were flabbergasted, because first of all, they'd never been asked some of these things, but women are regularly. They didn't know. These men did not know, but now they do. And maybe are much more conscious of not just what they say, but what they listen to others say, and hopefully are calling them on it to stop it. That's what we can do, is to be conscious, not just of, well, you know, that's not, that doesn't hurt me, that doesn't bother me, but how might it hurt or bother your friend of color, your family member of color? How about that young man that you know that right now is just a cute little boy? How about when he grows up as a person of color, as a black man? How will he be perceived? Purely because of the color. You may know him. He's a great guy. But others don't, and so they make assumptions. So I guess the first step for us is to watch our own assumptions. What assumptions are we making about others? But also just to educate ourselves and to find the ways in which we can see how others are assumed. Things are assumed by them. To educate ourselves. One of the things I'm thinking about, and if folks are interested, to let me know, there's lots of books out there to read that would help us, particularly as white people, to see the systemic, that maybe we don't think we're racist particularly, but we do benefit because of our color. But ways that we can kind of open our eyes to how others are treated. And so there's a lot of different books to read, and so I'm looking at through a bunch of them. So if folks are interested in doing that, kind of doing a book read, and time for discussion for that would help us. So, you know, let me know, and I'll be back to you in terms of what I'm looking at, because there's so many good things out there. And so we'll let you know. But I used as a title here is that prayer changes, prayer towards change, I think is what I called it. Prayer is the first and the always step. We pray first, always. But our prayer doesn't just say, okay, God, fix this. It's, God, help me to be a voice of justice. Help me to speak forward for peace. Help me to speak up when others are being unkind or cruel, or who are making assumptions about someone that they see or that they meet. Help me, Lord, to be a voice, to be your voice, as well as your hands and your heart in this world. So I'm still thinking through all these of how I, as a white woman, can be much more conscious of my own assumptions, as well as what I can do. And so the first thing I'm doing today at 5, we have our regular prayer gathering on Zoom. I'll put the link from our website here in the comments. But then also, if you're able to join us at 6 o'clock in front of Drew United Methodist, we'll be having a prayer vigil. So bring a candle, bring a sign. But we're seeking to be signs of peace and of justice in this world. So keep praying. As always, pray without ceasing. Pray for the community, our own communities, as well as those around our country, as well as those around the world. For the people who are hurting, who are angry, who are frustrated, and for whom so many things were assumed about them. So I will talk to you again soon. Have a blessed day.